cat here, your favorite ginger bibliophile. And come on, you want to hop up, big girl? You've got a curious puppy. Come on. Well, apparently she doesn't want to get up. She just wants to think about it for a while. But today we're going to do our February wrap up. Oh, here she goes. Franny, Franny. And that's her I don't love you, it's nap time spot. I miss when she was a puppy. That used to be a lot more work. The little back legs go, I can't get, okay. I need some help. And she'd finally get that last leg, or you'd have to give her little boofs. And it was so cute. So, yep, now we got a sleepy big girl and her little booty. And it's awoken the little man. Maybe. His blanket pile is moving. Oh, no. There we go. So now we're going to do our February 2025 wrap up. I finished 11 books. 6 of them were off the TBR pile. 1 ended up DNF'd out of that 6. So, as always, we're going to start with the physicals, and then we'll go to everything that I read on Kindle, which case I've got the book. So, these aren't in the order that I read them, just in the how big are they? Because we got the pile. So I read A Horror, City of the Dead by Brian Keene. Apparently this is a series, and I caught the middle of it. I don't see myself finishing this series. I got through this book. This is the second time I've tried to read it. And it's basically, the world has pretty much ended. Some stuff was going on. Some folks were doing some experiments. And I don't know why it looks like I have eyeliner on this one and not on this one now that I'm looking at the camera. Because literally, there's no eyeliner there. There's none on this one either, but the way the glare is, it's looks like I lined it, tried to go goth. I don't know. But if I look up, both my eyes look like this. So whatever. Yep. There's our nice sidetrack because my brain goes, and I'm looking at the camera to go, hey, do I have this centered? But this was, the scientists are like, hey, we're going to do some stuff and experiment. And then demons were taking over the bodies of dead people so that they're not dead anymore. And this is pretty much almost the whole world now has been taken over by the demons, or at least the first wave of demons, because they're going after people, they're going after animals, and then next it's going to be plants, and then they're just going to set the world on fire and go to another one because that'll teach the creator to put them in the void instead of letting them rule. Even though they really don't want to rule, they just want to have things to kill. So you need somebody to create so that they can kill. I don't know. But this is very gruesome, and that they're also taking over the animals. So you know what that means. I read it once. This will be getting unhauled. Now, if you like extreme horror and you don't mind bad things happening to cute puppies, it's probably a good series because it was well written and creepy, but no. I also read Bride by Allie Hazelwood, and this is Chaos Gremlin Noah's fault because we were doing reading sprints and he was cracking up over the nut paste. Which is not as gross as it sounds. It's actually just weirdo talk for peanut butter. And there's also a line where, I don't know how well y'all can tell, but this is our vampire who looks very elfy and apparently bleeds purple, and our werewolf who bleeds green. And at one point, she calls her, she has to marry, the alpha werewolf because otherwise, apparently vampires are not actually immortal. They're long-ish lived, but they are by no means immortal. Like, they get old, they die. And they're kind of pansies. Like, werewolves have zero problem just whipping the crap out of them and offering them. So the vampires made deals with human government of, here, I'll let you hold one of our kids for a decade, and we'll hold one of yours. And if either side misbehaves, it's, we'll off your kid that we're holding hostage for a decade. And the new, like, mayor, governor, whatever, is like, nah, screw you guys, we're not gonna do that anymore. So Bride has already been the sacrifice that had to grow up with humans because, her dad gave her away. He is not winning any Father of the Year awards or even the Father of the Week because he also said, you're going to marry this guy that will probably kill you at the wedding. But if he doesn't, maybe that will assure us that, for a few years they don't off us because once again, we'll borrow one of theirs. And yet the Vampire Satyrs, like, you were sold off to, people that want to off you to assure that we're not killed, but how dare you, like, pick up their habits because you spent more time with them than you did with us, and, screw you. So basically, vampires suck, but you called the werewolf a majestic fluffball. And from now on, wolves will be known as majestic fluffballs. But this is a enemies to lovers romance, with the second half getting spicy. I do like her attitude towards kids because she's, this little ew. It bleeds, it cries, it's noisy and literally crappy. Blech. But if you touch this specific one, I will destroy you. And how dare you make me like you? I hate children, but I will off someone for you. So, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. It was just kind of there. And then I read Neferurura. This is like the verbal, trying to pronounce this name, kind of like trying to spell banana without adding too many NAs or singing the Gwen Stefani song. So, yeah, it's a book about, her, our teenage pharaoh's daughter, where mommy's just using her to keep her power, and she has a, brother that has been sent away because, of course, it's ancient Egypt. And just like in today's times, women are supposed to shut up, look cute, stay over here, let the men be in power. And her mommy's in power and is not about to give that up. So, family drama, some magic, some sneaky women going, oh, you think we're not in power? But you stupid, and so you think that was your thought, but it's really not. And if you really piss us off, they won't know that it wasn't natural, honey. Yes. Do not piss off the women that you spend all day playing in the kitchen with the plants. So, this was first time I've ever heard of this author, Milena Evans, and I really freaking liked it. It's ancient. Like, I wanted some more people to get off because I didn't like them, and they deserved it. But it was still a satisfying ending anyway. And that might just be my short redheadedness going, kill them all! And there's one that was really not my style that I picked up for a couple cents at a used bookstore years and years ago. This was part of that. I thought I read it, and then when I reorganized my bookshelves in November, I found 39 books that I hadn't actually read that were supposed to be in the TBR pile. So I've been working my way through them, and there's dead sexy. There's no rest for the Wiccan. And just as it sounds like, we have a witch, or, a Wiccan, running a store. Oh, hey, at one point this was sold at Borders, which no longer exists, for $3.99. Which is amazing because it was initially $14 in the US and $17.50 for our friendly Canadian Elaine. But this is a, oh crap, murder mystery in, Lilith is trying to take over a body, so that's not gonna go well. There's been murders and cops are involved. And apparently, this is not the first one in the series, because this takes place after there has been a whole slaughter in a previous book. I think this is the second one, so. But there's also, you can tell from the mushy cover, there's some romance, but it doesn't get overly, like, mush and spice. More, I like this guy, but then I was tied up with that guy, and they're getting jealous, and there's this and that. But I read this book in 2 days. So, yeah, is romance, but it's not super romancy, and it's magical, and it was surprisingly good. So do with that what you will. I also read Clive Cussler's The Jungle, and basically it takes place in the Amazon, as you would guess. Of course, there's no clues to what this is about other than, hey, there's a boat in the jungle. But we've got a team of folks that are like, oh, hey, we got hired to go find this dude's daughter because she went missing in the jungle looking for some stuff. And of course, when you have mercenaries and the folks that make enough money to afford the mercenaries, stuff gonna go wrong, and there's gonna be some lies and some backstabbing. So, like, we got some political intrigue, some rich folks trying to control the world from various angles, infighting, lies, backstabbing. Surprised we get some really cool settings. This was actually fast paced all the way through, and I'm kind of mad this book has gotten messed up over time because I got all these used. You can see where it got a little janky. I didn't do it, but I will have to live with it. This is part of the Oregon Files series because he's got 50 billion various series with help from some other folks. This one was Jack Dubrule, whatever, however you say that. Helped him write it, and we're just going, like, we're getting plane crashes and oil rigs disappearing and submarines getting, sunk and all kinds of stuff. And the satisfying part of the rich evil guys not being able to be saved by all their riches. And that just makes my heart happy. Eat the billionaires. And the almost billionaires. And then the book that got DNF'd, Necroscopes, Dead Spawn, which is apparently book 5. And I'm sad because this looks like really creepy and awesome, and apparently it's a 13 book series. Like, they started off writing a whole bunch back to back, and then, kind of span the world, but it seemed kind of cool. The style was not for me, but then again, what's his face? The Cthulhu guy. Then I'm blanking on his name. Everybody seems to love him. The style of that also did not do it for me. So that being said, that was kind of the vibe I got from here. Of it's vampires, but vampires aren't really like traditional vampires. They're more like mental parasites, and to like remove them, you have to kill the host. But before they fully take over, they're vampires. Which, every time I read that, I can kind of picture Ryan Reynolds in that first Deadpool going, wham! So excited. And sadly, that was my favorite part of this. I got that far. Like 10%ish in, and just, nah, wasn't happening. Because basically, this dude, like, if you understand, like, invisible math or, like, explicit math, whatever they want to call it, basically, here's how to understand the universe in numbers, and you either know it or there's no possible way to learn it. It's just in your brain, and you just know it from birth, and you can travel the universe and multiverse and time and all this stuff. And he goes and has a baby that becomes extra evil and also extra powerful. It's like, well, I'm gonna save my mom from you, but also I'm gonna, like, become evil and be vampire-y, and our hero becomes vampire-y. And I'm not explaining it well, but yeah, if you Lovecraft, that's the dude. If you like Lovecraftian horror, you might like this series. There's a lot of them. I sadly have another book in this series that apparently is number 12. Yeah, that's just gonna be coming off the TBR pile because I didn't like book 5. I'm not gonna try to read book 12, and those were the only two that used bookstore had back in New Mexico. So hey, I can cross one out. I might get to my 20 off the bookcase by the end of the year yet. Because I'm getting rid of that one, and I found two that shouldn't have been on there. They weren't mine. They were somebody else was borrowing my bookcase, and then shuffled them in. So I just went, hey, this is the author put it in there. Didn't really pay attention. That's not mine. They put their stuff on my bookcase. And now we're gonna get into all the stuff I read on Kindle. And two of these are actually, y'all might know some of these authors because they're fellow booktubers. Starting with maybe one of like my favorite books of the year, Obsidian Murders by Nicole Brona, aka Nicole's book, Bookish Nook. I will be linking her channel down below. And y'all know I love me some urban fantasies. I love me a badass female. And if we can get rid of the romance, great. And this checked all the freaking boxes. I kept thinking we were gonna get some like lovers to enemies because it always freaking shows up these days. The end of the book, we still didn't have any mush, so woohoo! But we have this really badass chick that's basically like she has to go and deal with the magical mischief of other species. And then we have dragons that can pretend to look human on occasion. That, think they are the rulers of the universe and they're just like, you should be honored to be my slave and die for me. And she keeps putting his butt in his place and going, screw you, no. So I'm loving it, but they got all this stuff going on that she's got to deal with. He's trying to deal with it because they're the rulers of the universe and they punish whoever. So she has no business punishing people that are murdering humans. If that's the dragon's job, and she's just gonna be used as bait. No, 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 honey. I do what I do. I might use you as bait, and you owe me. I saved your butt. So I freaking love her. There's all the sass. There's magic. There's dragons. There's action. There's some other species and whatnot going on, but it was so freaking good. And there's a second one that I need to go and snatch it up because I think it's on sale right now. But yep, this so far is one of my favorite books of the year. It's awesome. I also read Rise of the Sea Witch by Stacy Rourke. This one's messed up. Like I got it from like Rob Reeds was like, "Hey, here's this book that's free today. Do you want it?" Duh. And it turns out it is not on Kindle Unlimited, but the omnibus of all 3 books in this series is on Kindle Unlimited. So, just a little tip for you folks if you have that. I'm trying to be good and read the 800 plus unread Kindle books that I have, especially since they're not giving me a free trial at the moment. But this is exactly what it sounds like with the title. It is the origin story of Ursula. And I've read 1 or 2 of those, but this is by far my favorite one. Like, she starts off as this sweet, innocent mermaid. And even, like, Triton is actually a good guy in the beginning. Which, if you've watched my favorite movie, well, one of my favorites is The Little Mermaid. Like, Ursula, like, hates King Triton from the get-go. That's why she's like, ooh, I'm gonna get me some Ariel and mess with her, because that'll teach that, prick. No, this is a story of how, like, they were besties, and then, stuff happened, and they ain't friends no more. Suckers gonna pay. And it's, wait, you're freaking, like, by the end of this, I was rooting for Ursula to just, I didn't like Triton, I didn't like his dad, there was so many that It was so freaking good. And then the other ones are the Mad Hatter and the Magic Mirror. So Snow White and Alice in Wonderland. I might eventually have to get Kindle Unlimited just to like read those, and there's a couple others, but I've never heard of this author till now. But if the other books were as good as this one, yes, I love me a villain origin story, and I love this one. Then I read Eye of Nefertiti by Maria Louisa Lang. I was so excited. It's ancient Egypt and a time traveling talking cat, and it sounds really awesome. Eh. It was like supposed to be a murder mystery, except for there really wasn't like a murder, and they went back in time. It's like we're keeping secrets, and then oh hey, we reveal this stuff, and like you didn't get a total feel for ancient Egypt. You didn't really get a feel for Nefertiti. It's just I felt like it promised a lot, and it only kind of sort of delivered. I wanted all the magic and the talking cat sass, which is the only thing we really got, but not to the level it really cracked me up. Because basically, like this, you know, Pharaoh or Pharaoh's little advisor prick or whatever tried to kill the cat, and it didn't go well. But the priest read this scroll in this boat that brought them to modern day New York, where the cat can now talk. The priest, marries this chick and has a baby that is the pharaoh that liked the cat and saved it, reincarnate. So it sounds really cool. It did not live up. And then I also read The Brown Yelp Gang by Gareth Howell, who you might know from Books, Songs, and Other Magic, that does these hilarious lives every other Thursday with Dave from Book Blather, who usually has Olive with him, except for when he has sneaky guests, at his house stealing Olive's spot, and she gets all the blame for his smut. And if y'all know, Olive is a cute little puppy that loves her spicy books. So, like, I'm not normally a sci-fi chick, and I don't really do like I listen to music. I am not a musician. But if you love sci-fi, especially like for me, this had very much Hitchhiker's Guide kind of vibes, but with the like if you're a musician and you like the whole how like reading music and various instruments and all this kind of stuff blended in, this will be like the best book in the world for you. Because it is sci-fi. We have aliens that are we were in a band. We used to do music here, but we got in trouble for, their version of doing some substances because, rockers got to be doing their substances. So they got chased out of that, system, and now one of their people has been kidnapped. Just, ransom. Your manager better pay his debt. Until then, you ain't getting your buddy back. And it's just this whole everything's going on like we got to figure out how to save them, but we're getting into other hijinks and just off the wall shenanigans. So yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide, but musical. It was a good freaking time. And then I even got in a little Greek mythology. I read Hera by Jennifer Saint, where Hera she's evil, but not. It's mostly, yeah, Zeus should have gone the way of, his father. Like, you made me the god of marriage and then didn't respect marriage because, you're a slut bucket. And somehow everyone's afraid of him. It's like that we were besties, and then he wanted to force me to marry him and bang him, and then he kept cheating on me after we like killed off the Titans or made them our little buddies, and basically all the ways that kind of women have to work behind the scenes or you get screwed and dealing with the rage. That was very much deserved, but lasted for way too long. Man, why are you taking it on the kids and the women instead of taking that on him? Like, you're supposed to be as powerful as he is, but he's made you his petty little toy that won't fight him like you should. Which I'm not explaining that very well. I mean, everybody knows the story of Hera, unless you've watched the Disney Hercules, where that was very sanitized and children friendly. This is more kind of like the show of I will destroy Hercules and all these little, evidence of my husband's cheating nastiness. And, obviously there's a lot of, brother and sister, because, the gods want to bang the gods, and the gods are all siblings, so it's some nastiness, but yet it was a really good time. There are more books by her, and just in that whole the villains might be villains, but they might not be as villainous as expected, and it's kind of some like they had a reason to be the way they were. They should have gone the other direction with it, but that rage was understandable because they got seriously screwed over. So that's what I read for the month. What did you get into? Did you have any really good ones, really bad ones? Drop a line, let me know, and I will see you soon. Bye. Happy reading.